Hello, I'm Lara Kulcharsan and this is Newsfeed, your dose of what people are talking about online. Nigeria is recruiting 20,000 additional policemen to fight a surge in kidnappings and has redeployed VIP protection units to guard some of its citizens. The West African nation has been rocked by a spate of abductions that are not just brazen, but also shock the world because of the sheer numbers of mostly young people who were taken at the same time. The armed bandits are neither politically or religiously affiliated and are so bold that they're posting videos on social media. Some are engaging with captives, others warn that soldiers and politicians are their next targets. A TikTok live went as far as to challenge the military to come to the forest and rescue victims. So, if the government knows where they are, why can't they catch them? Timothy, in the capital, outlines the recent kidnappings and explains why the situation is so difficult for the Nigerian government.
3 mass abductions in just 1 week have left hundreds missing, most of them school children. It began last Monday. Gunmen stormed a secondary school in Kebbi State and abducted 24 schoolgirls. Less than a day later, armed men attacked a church, killed 3 people and kidnapped 38 worshippers during a service. Then on Friday, attackers struck again at a Catholic school in Niger State, abducting 303 students and 12 teachers. About 50 of those students later escaped. These audacious attacks have reignited public outrage and renewed criticism of the government, but many still hope for the best.
Because if you look at things, it's really terrible. It's getting very, very bad. We are in Abuja now, we seem like we are enjoying. But we don't know what will happen tomorrow. Everybody sleep with only one eye closed.
So they should come to our aid and help us. God will give them the wisdom and understanding for them to capture this thing. And everything will be over very soon. That's my prayer.
Well, there's some good news. All the Kebbi schoolgirls and the church worshippers have now regained freedom. However, 253 Catholic school students remain in captivity. President Bola Tinubu has urged security agencies to intensify the search for the missing. Nigeria has grappled with mass abductions since 2014 when Boko Haram raided a girls' school in Chibok and abducted 276 students, using them as leverage in negotiations with the government. More than 100 of them are still missing, but the recent wave of attacks is largely financially motivated, carried out by gangs seeking hefty ransoms from families or the government. Experts say school children are frequent targets for these groups, who also feed off the public notoriety that follows each attack. Nigerian authorities warn that consistent media coverage of these incidents can unintentionally amplify the actions of perpetrators. Meanwhile, following the latest attacks, President Tinubu has once again vowed to crush insecurity. Critics, however, argue that the government's persistent failure to protect citizens only exposes deeper capacity challenges.
The armed bandits strike in remote areas and then take cover in dense forests. 50 out of the 300 students kidnapped at the Catholic school have escaped, and they're the lucky ones. Hundreds of others remain in captivity, and as the government struggles to get ahead of the situation, locals are frightened and social media users are furious.
Why is this country not a safe space? Money a country then, and it's not safe for us? Huh? If you want to ban school, just ban school. Like this same happened a long time ago, and it's happening now. If you say no schools, we'll stay home. It's not even safe. What's the government doing about all this? These young girls are like what? 13, 14, 15, math 17. If it's someone's child, someone powerful, do you think this would be happening? Like, is this what we're going to hear?
One thing for sure is that this has got to stop. It's happened way too many times. Over 1,500 children have been kidnapped since the girls in the town of Chibok. Like, what is the government doing about this? These groups committed so many kidnappings and requested so many ransom demands that the Nigerian government in 2022 had to criminalize the act of actually paying ransom. So if you did pay a ransom, you would go to jail for 15 years.
Nigerians are waking up to the fact that they have to protect themselves. Nobody's going to protect them, not the Nigerian army, not the Nigerian government.
Social media has a secret list of words you're not allowed to say. At least that's what many people think. Online, nobody dies. They get unalived. Guns turn into populous, and the pandemic is called a panini or a panorama. It's called Algospeak, the strange self-censored language the internet has invented to stay in the algorithm's good graces. But where did it come from? Why are people doing it? And does any of it actually work?
They love posting online. They can't get enough of it, but they want views for it, damn it, and they don't want anything to sabotage their chance of getting views, especially those sneaky social media algorithms. And so people have slowly adopted what has come to be known as Algospeak, where you try and trick the algorithm by not saying supposedly forbidden words and instead substituting them for cheeky and incredibly cringe replacement words. Now,
music festival is unfolding, and yes, we gotta call it a music festival to ensure that the algorithm shows you this beautiful concert, otherwise we risk this video getting taken down.
The basic idea is that platforms like TikTok, where it is very prominent, have these incredibly intelligent algorithms that can pick up on the exact words you use and punish you accordingly. But if you use a different word, suddenly this incredibly advanced algorithm is completely tricked and has no idea what you're talking about. Do you honestly think the TikTok algorithm doesn't by now know the word unalive? If you search the word unalive on TikTok, it gives you like resources and a number for the Samaritans. Like, it understands what that word means. But also, you can just search for the word kill or murder and videos will pop up that have millions of views. You can search the word gun, and not only are there videos of people talking about guns, there's videos of people with guns firing the guns and being like, yay, I love my gun, and they'll have like 1 million likes. They state that they don't actually have a banned words list, right? They are very clear that we do not have a list of words, no matter what anyone says. What they do say basically is that it's all about context. You can say the word murder if you're doing a news report about murder, but you can't say the word murder if you're making a video where you're like, here is a list of people I am going to murder, because the context is a lot darker there. So TikTok actually lists a series of things that you'd think would be banned: dieting, extreme fitness, sexual suggestiveness, sadness, like sharing sad quotes, and over generalized mental health information. And they say that this content is not banned, but they do not like tons of it all at once. Then all the obvious stuff is actually banned. Things like shocking graphic content, slurs, danger. Never say at any point that you cannot say kill, dead, murder. It's all context. Ultimately, all of this is just a result of TikTok and all these platforms not being transparent enough. In a way, I understand why TikTok is not super explicit about this thing is banned, this thing isn't, because of course the second you give people structure and guidelines, they will then figure out how to circumvent that. They want that to be a little bit of vagueness just so they can enforce stuff properly, because otherwise you get people making the worst content ever and being like, sure, it's technically allowed.
US President Donald Trump's sometimes erratic demands aren't always about serious things. This time, he pushed for the movie Rush Hour 4 to be made, and he got it. The Paramount revival of the Jackie Chan Chris Tucker franchise has left many wondering exactly what Trump's motives are, and whether he is trying to get work for his friend, director Brett Ratner, who had previously stepped back amid Me Too allegations.
Rush Hour 4 is happening, and it's because of President Donald Trump. Donnie said that he wanted to see a 4th Rush Hour movie, and since best friends with the CEO of Paramount, it's gonna happen. It's crazy to me that it wasn't Jackie Chan or Chris Tucker who got it greenlit, despite campaigning for the movie to be made for years.
He was on his platform saying that there needs to be a Rush Hour 4 for some reason, probably so he can get a cameo, but in large scale, most likely can push his propaganda. Because like the Ellison family is not only good with Trump, they're trying to create their own Hollywood monopoly. Right now, there's the current acquisition of Warner Brothers. Paramount's trying to put in a bid. And the irony of Paramount teaming with Warner Brothers to distribute is essentially soft-launching this whole partnership. Also, Brett Ratner coming back to direct after he did that documentary on Melania Trump.
Need I remind you, Brett Ratner has several SA allegations from numerous women. Brett Ratner was fully canceled. All of his projects were canceled. Nobody was working with this man. Until recently when he did a Melania Trump documentary. Government being that involved in what movies get made is it's a little dystopian. Oh, but it's Rush Hour 4, it's not that serious. It's not the subject matter, it's the principle. If Donald Trump can influence what movies get made in Hollywood, I don't know, that's like a dangerous precedent.
Step aside Tokyo, Jakarta is taking the lead. A change in the United Nations criteria for measuring rapid urbanization has pushed Indonesia's capital to the top of the world's most populous cities. Jakarta now counts 42 million people, ahead of Bangladesh's Dhaka with 37 million, while Tokyo slips to third with 33 million. UN officials say the shakeup comes from a new, more consistent methodology for defining cities, towns, and rural areas.
Tokyo is no longer the most populated city in the world. I know it sounds crazy because it's a title they've held since 1965, a 60-year run, one of the craziest runs we've seen, but they no longer have the title. The capital of Indonesia, Jakarta, takes the new title for most populated city, also has a much more dense city. They have 22,000 people per kilometer versus Tokyo's 4,600 people per kilometer. Back in 2018, Jakarta ranked 33rd in world population, so they've had massive growth in the last 7 years.
This shift reflects Japan's rapidly aging and rapidly shrinking population growth, and this is due to what human geographers like to call the demographic transition model, which is where developed countries eventually start having less and less children. Japan's fertility rate is below the replacement rate, as well as Jakarta's explosive, to say the least, population growth. People in Indonesia aren't like popping out 6, 7, 8 children like they used to. The primary driver of this seems to be people from the countryside just overwhelmingly migrating into urban areas in search of things like jobs and overall better living conditions. So while people are moving into cities, especially in developing countries, for a better life, this also means that places such as Jakarta have to deal with massive strains on housing and transportation infrastructure, as well as environmental issues in an already disaster-prone region of the world.
And that's our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.